What is going on, guys? Welcome back to LOI Fan TV and back to Cautiously Optimistic Season 2, Episode 9. I think it is at this stage. We've been missing an action the last couple of weeks, but we're back at it, and hopefully this is going to be the buzz for the foreseeable. We're going to try and get some videos out as well. It's just we've all been a bit mad the last little while, but hopefully we'll get into some sort of routine with the streams and then a few videos as well alongside that as well. I'm joined this evening by Adzi. Adzi, how are you getting on?
Yeah, not too bad. Good to be back after a few weeks off. So a lot of things to talk about this week anyway from like the last few weeks. So looking forward to it.
Yeah, very, very busy night in store. Before we jump into it, guys, if you can drop a like on the stream, we much appreciate. If we can hit like 20 likes, that would be fantastic, and see if we can go from there. And then if you can subscribe as well, that would be superb. All your support, genuinely, really, really appreciate it. But I think there's only one place to start tonight, and it's kind of been the news story of the last few days. As the Shamrock Rovers fan, of course, in case anyone new is tuning in, we're of course going to have to start with Stephen Bradley, who it looks like is leaving Shamrock Rovers for League One Lincoln City. Your initial kind of thoughts to the news and your initial reaction to the kind of news that broke?
When I first heard it, when it broke a few days ago, obviously I was shocked and thinking, geez, like that could be a bit of. I thought it was only a bit of interest and so on, because you hear, I think Bradley was in with a shout of a job last year in England,
MK Dons, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, and he was in with that sort of shout, so you'd kind of nearly blow it off. But then,
yeah,
when I heard that an approach was actually made and stuff, and I think Bradley confirmed that he was opening talks, I was thinking to myself, oh Jesus, this could actually be bad, because I heard they're looking at Glenn Cronin and Stephen McPhail as well. So I was very worried and taken back by it myself and so on, considering how well we're doing and the squad we have. I know Lincoln finished 17th in League One, so I couldn't really get my head around that from that sort of point of view, especially with us playing Champions League football and stuff. Now it does look like he's gone. I think talking to Rovers fans and seeing Rovers fans on Twitter, they feel like that now people are already in the club. I think the deal is as good as done. I think that's it for him. I think his time at Rovers has come to an end. Sadly enough, because he's got us back on our perch and stuff as well. Got us back to winning leagues and winning cups again. So it's sad in that way, especially how he came in unproven. He had a very difficult start coming into Rovers, but like that, it's his first job and so on. So there was a bit of pressure on him. I think even in 2018, there was a stretch of games where he went 15 games without a win, and all fans are calling for his head, me included. I was thinking, look, it's probably time to go and whatnot. The next season, 2019, that's when things started really kicking on for us. I think we got into second place against Dundalk and we were playing really well. The signs he made and stuff were really clicking. Won the cup that year. Obviously, the season after, we went unbeaten in the league. Then another cup final.
Half a season, yeah.
No. Unbeaten. No, I'm still taking it. You can put whatever asterisk you want over that. I don't care. Then obviously last season we won the league and stuff again. So he's put Rovers back where they are. So I am delighted for him, because it gets his foot in the door over in England and opens up way more opportunities for him. So maybe he does well with Lincoln. He could further on from that and so on. And plus, he's only young. He's 37, 38 years of age.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
I think he came into Rovers at what? Isn't he early 30s? Wasn't he when he came in? 33 or something.
32, 33. Yeah, he just retired. He came in very early. I didn't even realise how young he was.
Yeah, no, neither did I, actually.
At the time. But look, in all seriousness, I'm delighted for him. It gets his foot in the door over there, and you can't blame him for.
Is there any bitterness at all, like a step down type of thing or anything, or is financially it's probably the right move from himself, isn't it, realistically?
Financially, yeah, it's the golden goose at the end of the ball. You know what I mean? Getting the bit of bob, and he's probably topped what he can do with us. In terms of winning, it could be a cycle of us winning all the time now. Now, obviously, this league's a bit different, but we'll be always up at the top of the there. So he has motivation to go on further. So Lincoln's a start. You know, if it doesn't work out, he could probably come back. But if it works out, he can go further than he'll ever go here. So
Mm.
it's a no-brainer. Now, I don't know if I know Cronin. It definitely, I think Cronin's involved in the deal as well. I'm not too sure about McPhail because McPhail, when Nishi came back to Ireland, he wanted to settle. That's why he left England in the first place. So I don't know if he'll be going back with them or not.
Yeah.
It's quite hard to tell. But obviously, disappointed but grateful for what Bradley has done for us. He's, like I said, he's put us back on top. So it's got to be a tough task for whoever else comes in.
Absolutely. We'll touch on that in a second, but there's a comment coming in here from David saying Stephen's rise has been incredible. I remember in 2016 to 18, the disaster shop of those Rovers teams he managed. And I was just thinking back to doing like fan cams outside Dublin derbies. I remember Rovers had an awful losing streak to Bows there for a while, wasn't it? I think it was it 6 games in a row they lost to Bows or something like that. It was just shocking
was
there for a while.
9 or 10 games without winning against them.
Something like that, yeah. It was a tough period, like, and I was surprised he actually kept his job at one stage. Like,
I think it's in this stage now with football, Rovers are in kind of in a similar loop to the way United are now. Obviously not in terms of the scale, but we brought Kenny in, didn't work out. Probably could have given him a few years, a bit more time. Sorry. Then Trevor Crowley came in. The football was awful under Crowley. Then after that was Fenlon, the proven manager who everyone was kind of, expecting us to do well. Again, football wasn't great, and we weren't really getting the best results and stuff. But Bradley came in hungry. He had more to prove than any of the other previous managers, I think, as well. And obviously, it worked out really well for him. We have a style of football now that we've adopted the last 2 or 3 seasons and whatnot, and he's revolutionised not only the Rovers first team but Rovers as a club. Even I think that from the other 19s down, they play the exact same way as the senior team and so on, and that's the way a club should be run. And he's having players coming through the whole time. Obviously, we have the backing of Dermot Desmond, and the signings we are making are incredible. So he has started like a new sort of wave at Rovers of players coming through, and it's the best we've been in a while, so to say.
Yeah. Is this a concern for you? Just kind of touching on, obviously this is mid-season. Shamrock Rovers, it's a different story over in England. Obviously entering kind of the end of the season over there, going into pre-season, so probably in a few weeks, whatever. So obviously the deal would be done ASAP from a Lincoln point of view. But obviously it is mid-season for Rovers. How disruptive do you think it's going to be? And we're touching on that. Do you think he will actually come in this summer period, and will he look to bring some League of Ireland talent, especially from Shamrock Rovers, over with him to Lincoln, do you think?
He'll obviously know the contract situation with all those players and so on. He'll know who's in contract and who's out of contract at the end of the season. So it's like I would expect, especially if lads keep performing, he'll see over in England as well how different the standard of is. So he'll see lads that are like matching Rovers players, but that are also much better than them, perhaps as well. And he'll just have a wider range of players too. I think it disrupts us. Only if we disappoint whoever we get in has to be right. It has to fit in straight away. There's a few options I have in my mind as well, but I think one of them, I think I sent it to you, I think that's the option I'd nearly go for. But say them anyway. I think Aidan Price would be a good fit because he's involved with the under 19s at Rovers. He knows, the young players coming through. He knows he plays the exact same way as Bradley would as well. And like that, as Bradley started off with the academy, and like that, he's something to prove. He's eager. He wants to get into a senior management position. Second one, Ross, you're not going to be happy about this, but Joey O'Brien. I reckon especially with Joey now and the lads, and again, he knows all the lads. He has that caliber of him being over in England, so on. He comes in, he has the respect of the fans and the dressing room immediately. And I think, if that was an option, I'd 100% go for it. But I think the number one option, and I think it's shown that what I've seen, I think it's Stephen Rice is coming in. And what I've heard about Ricer is I'm not too sure of him as like a manager and how he deals with players, but I know he's worked his way up through the ranks in terms of like tactical analysis and like how to play against teams, how to set up his own team. So I've heard he's excellent. That's where he has the Ireland job. I think he's tactical analysis for Stephen Kenny,
Yeah,
but he's
he is,
worked
yeah.
his way up, and he was in the Palace reserves with that position as well. So I think Ricer is the right appointment. Again, like the other two I mentioned, he has a lot to prove. I'd say he's eager to get in, but again, he's a Rovers legend too,
Yeah,
and I'd
yeah.
say he'd command the respect of the dressing room. I think he's just that he's the character we need.
Didn't he
Following Bradley anyway.
he scored at White Hart Lane, didn't he? Or was
Well,
that someone else?
you can say he scored, but he got on the wave and it just happened to go in.
Yeah.
So it did. I think Sullivan hit the shot and Royce was trying to get out of the way, but it just actually hit him up on the foot and it went in. Now, it's great. But like, I'd love to see Royce. Royce was one of my favourite players at Rovers. He's
Super
kind of
footballer,
he's just a character. You know, he might have been the greatest footballer. He was good, of course, but he just had a character about him. He had a presence that he had a desire to win for Rovers every time and stuff. He left it all out on the field from, and he gave us 100%, and that's who I want in. He's my number one anyway.
Yeah. Looking from an outside point of view, I'd be interested to hear your thoughts on this. I think Stephen Bradley will, if he goes to Lincoln, he'll look back at Shamrock Rovers and he'll pinpoint 3 targets from Shamrock Rovers. These are the 3 I think he'll look at. I think he'll look at Jack Byrne. I think he'll look at Danny Mandrew, and I think he'll look at Andy Lyons. I think those are the 3 in particular that he'll look at. What would be your thoughts on that? And do you think any of them is the wrong type that he might look at? And do you think anybody else, even in the squad, might be something that he might look at bring with him?
Well, those are the 3 obvious ones. I think maybe in the summer, he'd bring, depending on the contract situation. I think Mandrew's out of contract at the end of the year, so he might even let that run. But it's hard to tell. Like he might just look to go for a clean sweep, and I wouldn't blame him. He has to. He'll have a different job now. He has Rovers. He cares about Rovers, but it's business at the end of the day. He'll want to get as many players as he wants into the team as quick as possible. So if that means Lyons, Mandrew, and Byrne go in the summer, then that's it. So that's something we have to deal with. Any other players that can go over? Idemo Macu.
Yeah.
He's a young player. I know he'd come off the bench mostly for Rovers and stuff now, but he's very young, exciting player, quick,
like
strong.
Back on loan off Lincoln or something then, or some sort of deal there maybe, or
that could be one. Pico, he's probably, I think Pico's 29 now. I don't think he really wants to settle. He's after buying a house here too.
That's why the younger players are players that are more likely to kind of take that chance and go abroad, whereas the lads that are in late 20s have a job, in their early 30s have a job, they're settled in Dublin type thing. They're on decent money at Rovers as well. It's not like they're gonna
of course.
on a bad
like the only ones maybe I think the other ones maybe are like I could think of as maybe Farouj or Dylan Watts, but they'd have to up their performance massively. It's not it's like, as in, they're good players and they're playing well, but they haven't been as good as like the likes of Lyons, Mandrew, and Jacko have been this season. Now Jacko's kind of coming into it more recent, but they've been outstanding for us.
Yeah, you'd wonder if you might look at maybe someone like a Finner in like a player coach role or something like that. Maybe something like that wouldn't surprise me. Something, because I remember Ronan Finn seems like that kind of character that kind of does a lot of, like, because I know in Rovers the systems like the players are very influential in the dressing room as well. I think Finner has a big hold of the dressing room as well, and that senior characters in the group take a lot of responsibility in the dressing room as well. So someone like that wouldn't be overly surprised to see potentially go.
I think it's just his age going against him, Finn.
That's against Ronan. Coach role as well, kind of thing. Maybe.
That's the only way. If there was an option there for him to be a coach, and I think he's done his badges anyway, then by all means maybe go over for a season. But he wouldn't. I don't think he'd have the same effect as he would at Rovers, because obviously he's a Rovers legend and so on, and then you're bringing in a 34-year-old from Lincoln. Like, to be fair, the lads over in Lincoln probably don't even know who he is. So it's hard to tell. I can see where you're coming from.
And finally, just last thing on this, we've touched on this for a while, but I want to run through. Got sent a list of the odds of the next Shamrock Rovers manager, so I wanted to run through some of the names and get your quick thoughts on them. John Caulfield,
No, I saw that. Like whoever came up with that as favorite, that's a laugh. I respect John Caulfield. He's a character, but dire style of football.
Oh, shocking, shocking! Like, Robbie Keane.
I don't think. I think Sacco said it in the chat. I don't think Claudine will come to Tala very often. I think you'll want her there. Again, in fairness to Keane, like I wouldn't blame him for going for the job. He wants
No,
something.
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
he really wants something.
yeah,
You
and
know,
it's not like it's a job there where he'll be given money to spend. He's being given a very good group of players. Like he can have a lot of success straight off the bat. Whereas someone like Duff's taking a kind of a more difficult job on. Whereas this would be
mm,
kind of an easier job maybe in terms of the quality of the group and the money maybe to spend as well. Obviously expectations are higher as a result as well, but
yeah,
it's a good group of players. Like
yeah, of course.
Damien Duff actually mentioned there as well. He's potentially he's worked at, I think, did he work with Shamrock Rovers before?
He
I know he
worked with the
played
under
for
15s, yeah.
I know he's came out and said that Shelburne would be the only club he'd manage in the League of Ireland, but it'd be some story if he went against that a couple of weeks later and
Because
went to
in
Rovers.
fairness to Duff, he has Shell set up like we are. You
Yeah,
know, the three at
yeah,
the back and the two wing backs and so on, and
yeah.
the one striker and the two attacking midfielders behind, constantly running. He plays. We play quite similar. It's just the quality. It's
Absolutely.
probably let him down most of the time. You know.
Yeah, yeah. I'm just gonna rattle off some funny names. Vinnie Perth, I hope, surely.
No,
Uh,
no.
the likes of Stephen Rice are in there, Joey O'Brien in there, people you've mentioned. Andy Moyle, I think he's ECD, isn't he? What would you think of that?
No, I think that's his. Like I like Andy. He's actually a lovely bloke. I've met him.
He's
I
do
met him
rate
once.
ECD a lot though, and it's like in fairness. He's like
Yeah,
that
in fact,
route.
he would. In fairness, he tries to play a good side of football with them, but
Yeah.
he can't actually.
What
He
if you have better
can't
players?
sustain that. Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah, so maybe
you never
you
know.
never know. Yeah.
Not in
Would he
my
get your
list.
back, would he?
No, I don't think so.
No.
I'm sorry, Andy.
Yeah, the likes of Keith Andrews in there. I don't see that. He's in at the Ireland setup. I think he's kind of happy enough there, isn't he? In the Ireland setup,
He's
he's
set up
nice
there.
enough.
I think
Yeah.
he's quite happy being there. All right, he doesn't. That's kind of he's settled into that role. And in fairness, they're both doing quite well. So he'd be stupid to come to us. To be honest with you.
Yeah. Yeah, and I know we might actually just finish on this one then as the last option. I know you've always kind of said that Shamrock Rovers do like Bohemians' academy is basically Shamrock Rovers' academy because you nick all their players. What about their manager? Would you take Keith Long at in Tala Stadium?
No, no.
No, too much bad blood, or is it a case of he's not a good enough manager, or too much bad blood there, or what's the story? I know it's unrealistic with his contract at the moment as well, isn't it? Really, I think he's 2 or 3 years left on his deal.
Rovers fans daily about 2 weeks ago were singing "Sacked in the Morning." I don't think he'll actually want to come, and we don't want him anywhere near us.
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
I think he'd be poison. So he would.
yeah.
I can't stand him. No, absolutely no way. I couldn't do that. I
No,
couldn't
yeah.
do that at all. No, that. Not in the running. Not if they shortlist him just for an interview, just a chat, I'll hand him my Rover season ticket. I do not want anything to do with him. I think he's a clown. I want
So,
nothing to do with him. He's septic.
sure, not even doing that well this season. They're not really like so. To be
They're
fair,
dirt.
yeah,
They're dirt. Playing them 2 weeks ago, I swear to God, it was embarrassing for them.
yeah, yeah.
We it was the first time I've ever seen a Rover in the last while that a Rovers team actually wanted to win the game more. It's always Bows, but then Rovers probably might overcome them with quality every now and then. But Rovers had both, and we just dominated them.
Yeah.
So no chance of him coming. Don't want to take him. No. Good luck.
Yeah, yeah. There's a comment here. Let's fast forward a year and a half. Rovers are in the first division, and Stephen Rice get into a fight with travelling fans after 0 wins and 8 goals in 13 games. Speaking of which, right, I think those are the exact stats, aren't they, for Pat Devlin's Bray Wanderers, I believe, aren't they? We'll move on to that. That's the other big drama story in the League of Ireland at the moment, managerial wise. Did you see the clip, Adzi?
Yeah, it was shocking.
Yeah,
It was shocking behaviour from him.
Oh, and did you see Bray Wanderer's statement today? Back in the manager and condemning the fans.
But yeah, they were like, "Oh, we want Bray to be like a family orientated club and stuff like that, and welcome families. Yet they stopped replying their tweets.
Yeah, yeah. They
It's
don't give
it's
the
it's
fans a voice at all. I think you have to be a member to get a ticket for a game now as well.
is this just because of that, or has this been the
I
case for the
think
whole
it's.
season?
I'm not sure actually. I'm not sure. But I know
Because
there's been
that's
some weird stuff
shocking.
going on this season. Yeah, it's so strange.
It's because they
So
didn't
so.
even get a say. I feel sorry for the Brave fans because I know they're a small bunch, but they're quite passionate about their club. But
Yeah,
they didn't even get a say in the whole Cabinteely thing either.
and I think they think this is the whole Cabinteely thing, kind of behind the scenes that are kind of causing all this kind of carry on as well.
Well, Devo came from Cabinteely,
Yeah, of course.
and
Yeah.
I know Devo is actually, in fairness to him, he is Bray through and through.
Mm.
But he's an age manager. He was, you know, I know he was very loyal to Bray a few years ago, but it's his age and stuff. But like the fans are there, they can give their opinion.
Yeah.
I know
It was so like
that,
intimate and personal though. Like it wasn't like a big group of fans. Like it was like a couple of lads. Like it was like so
yeah,
strange. Like wasn't it? It was so weird. Like
it
awful
was
things.
it was probably just lads down for like they obviously support Bray, but they're there having a bit of crack as well
Yeah, a
and
few
stuff.
points to it.
But like I'm like you can't do that if you're Devon. I'm
No, you
surprised the
can't.
club have like backed him because
Yeah, the
at the
video's
end of
out
the
there.
day,
Like
Devon wasn't going to save Bray if they ever go under. It's going to be the supporters as well.
yeah,
He
yeah,
they he, they're the ones that matter. I know it's cliche and stuff in football, but especially at our level at League of Ireland, the
yeah,
fans are more important than anything else. And for Devon to be back like that, especially nearly starting on the fans, fair enough. I know they are chanting whatever about Devo. They've every right to. They pay €15, €10 a ticket to go and see them. And if you're not performing well, they have the right to voice their opinion. Of course, if it's can't be ending like ending of discrimination or anything like that. But they're there to voice
I
their
don't think it
opinion.
was though, wasn't it? I don't think it
No,
was
yeah, that's what I'm
like
saying.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It was
They're
just
not. They're
kind of
not gonna. They're just saying like we don't want them there. And
yeah.
I
They're allowed to have
they,
that opinion. Yeah, 100%.
they're allowed, yeah, exactly. So Bray showing that is, I wouldn't be surprised now if they get zero crowds to their games just in protest.
Yeah, yeah.
And I
Serves
back
them right.
them. I feel sorry for the Bray fans having to go through that and having your own manager trying to nearly start a fight with you nearly. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's shocking behaviour from
No,
them.
it's really bad, really bad. The new chairman's a good guy, but he's given Pat Devlin all the power and he's become a total dictator. Lots of media officers kicked out from the club for questioning him. Reminds me a bit of Steve Bruce. Do you remember at Newcastle there towards the end? He was like kicking off media officers out and banning them from press conferences and stuff like that. Like that's just like it's shocking when you start doing that. Like just because you don't like a few questions and then you don't like being kind of your authority being kind of called out and stuff. Like it's just a total lack of character and it's just so it looks so weak. I think. And the fact that Bray are sticking with him, I don't know. Do you think the players are standing by him? Like they can't really aren't on board with this. Like
I don't. I think the
the
players
results
are even
obviously show it.
questioning.
Like
Like, yeah,
mm,
they don't want to be there. He's not having them play well. He's clearly whatever message he's trying to get across, especially after the weekend. It's
mm,
shocking. If they don't have no interest in that, so they don't.
no,
And like as you said, you can't be part of being a manager is taking the tough questions, and
yeah,
you can back yourself, and say you can have a go at the reporter for asking the questions and so on. I know it's people don't look at it, but actually banning people from asking the question in the first place, it's horrendous.
yeah,
You deal with it as a manager, whatever way you deal with it, it's fair enough. But even I think even banning media like that, it shows like a lack of respect to the players. Because maybe if they're asking tough questions, instead of Devo going, oh, like I back this player and whatnot, or I back my team, he's just completely ignoring that statement. Do you
yeah,
know what I mean?
yeah. No, exactly.
It's
Yeah, yeah,
it's real weak by him, and no, I think now if he's whatever happens to Bray, like they can go win their next season. You know what the situation is like down there. It's quite
yeah.
poor in terms of resources, but you know they need to get rid of him, and they need to do something big time about trying restructuring the club, but having the supporters involved as well, because the supporters clearly aren't happy with not just how the team is performing, but how the club is run all around.
Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely. Moving on to a bit more positive news. Anyway, the Save Talca Park campaign has received its most significant boost yet, with Dublin City Council recommending recommending abandoning plans to rezone the ground for residential use. So it does look like Talca Park. The campaign has been successful. It will be saved. And I know you're not a Shelburne fan, Azzy, but as a League of Ireland fan, as an Irish football fan, it's super news, isn't it?
Yeah, it's great. I love going to Talca Park. Going there a few weeks ago, it was like the way they. I know they've cleaned up the away end and stuff like that. It's
Yeah,
a great
still a lot of work to
atmosphere
do,
still
by the
there.
way. Still a lot of work to do.
Still so much work to do. Are they? I know the council they've bar like they're gonna stop that like zoning of the residential area. But is there still a proposal for? I know they were talking about like a sports recreation area,
Mm.
not necessarily like a football pitch, but just having an area for like sport take place and stuff or whatever. I'm not too sure. I know I read that a few weeks ago, but
Yeah. I'm not 100% sure on the details actually with that.
even something like that,
Yeah,
I know
something like that'd be brilliant.
something like that has sport to do with it, regardless if Shelburne move out of it or they don't. They need some sort of revamp anyway because it's a good area for it to have,
Yeah,
even if it is turned into say more like a recreational sports centre. It's something for the community to get in and whatnot. No, I still hope it doesn't do that. I hope they just revamp the stadium. I hope they do it with Richmond
yeah.
Park, Dalymount, and Talca
Oh, so,
because
yeah, no, I think the residential use is obviously like the idea, but I think they have to keep the ground and then build like recreational facilities around it. I think they have to keep that ground as part of that community. I think it'd be awful to rip that. It'd be like ripping the soul out of the community. I think if you took the actual stadium away.
so little of like any League of Ireland fan. I brought one of the lads there for his first game, and he like he loved it. It's a great ground. I know it's sad to see the way that how would you say the newsstand isn't operating at all, but
Mm.
it is a good ground. You're right up to the pitch, or like the net is. I think the net for the away end is right and is nearly on top of the fans.
Yeah.
It's you're so tight, and everyone can hear you and so on. I love it there. If they
Yeah.
can revamp it and revamp the stadium and keep it as Shelburne playing there, you know, it'll bring more seats to the games. And that goes for,
Absolutely.
as I said, Pats and Bows too. They
Mm.
just need to get a start on all these projects if they can,
Yeah,
obviously if they can afford it. But I think it's absolutely great news. Obviously,
there is. Yeah,
your
delighted.
opinion on it.
Yeah, and I think it is. I think there is investors in the Chels. I think they're US based. I think, but I think the plan is that they are going to put a bit of money into the ground and do it up. And I don't know. That's that newsstand is so infuriating because the ultras used to be behind the goal that side, and it was a great atmosphere. And you could really because even Talca's been selling out loads this season. Like it's been a great atmosphere. And I know they've only
Mm.
collected 1 point from home games this season, but nothing to do with the fans because the fans have been brilliant at home so far. And I think it is a huge boost, and hopefully, obviously, Shells will get on to the fixtures this weekend. Obviously, they'll be a home game this weekend. Hopefully, back up the good news with a good result and just put a really positive week together in Talca Park. But yeah, I think it's super news, and I was at the Save Talca Park night there with Socko a few weeks ago, and it was a really nice night, a really nice occasion. Brian Kerr was there, Kenny Cunningham was there, Paris Latterly was there. It was a brilliant night and just telling stories about their memories, and the ground has been around for so long, and people's memories are amazing. And yeah, it's just that whole community is just built around Talca Park, and even myself, I've been there since I was a kid, gone since I was a kid, and even more recently, just having pints at the bars with Shells fans and all. Like it's just brilliant. Like so, yeah, I would have been absolutely devastated if anything was to come of kind of knocking it down and moving in with Bows to Daily Mount. Would have made my stomach turn nearly. The idea of that, like, so yeah, no, I'm absolutely delighted with the news, and it had been looking good for a while. I'm delighted with the news today as well. So, yeah, a lot of hopefully a really positive future for Shelburne and be topped off if they can stay in the Premier Division as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's the main aim for this season, and if they can get the stadium up and running, it really is a really exciting time to be a Shells fan, I think.
Yeah. Well, it's part of League of Ireland history, like Talca Park and stuff. It's built. It's right in practically in the city centre, and it's around all these areas. There's plenty of bars around the place to go and see the games and so on. It's it's like it's one of the heart and souls of the league.
Yeah.
So they have to keep that there. It's not like only for Shells. Like, remember when Rovers played there? You know, I loved going to see Rovers play there. I know it's the other side of the city and whatnot, but
Hmm.
seeing them every week there, I loved it. So I'm absolutely delighted for Shells and whoever's involved with Talca Park as well. It's great news, I think, because you can't be losing that ground.
Yeah, no, 100%. 100%. We will move on to this weekend's games. Obviously, starting off with a massive one up in Derry City, playing host to Bohemians. It's probably the only time, one of the only times this season, Nancy, you might be actually hoping Bows can get a result.
Yeah, I don't see it though. I heard Derry last week against Pats were just unbelievable. Two of the lads went who are Pats fans and they were blown away by them.
Yeah,
You know, they couldn't get over how good they were. Nearly every player they have is over 6 foot tall.
yeah,
Just real physical and stuff as well. They kind of bullied Pats for the first half by the sounds of it, and then tapered off as the game went on and stuff.
yeah. But going,
Um,
that's such a statement, isn't it, in Inchicore as well? Such a
3-0
statement.
up at
Like,
half time. You like
yeah,
it's. I know Pats. In fairness, they haven't been in great shapes either. But that's what you need to do against teams that are nowhere near you. You need to put them
yeah,
away. You need to dishearten them. You need to get a few goals against them before half time. So just kill the morale for the second half. Fair enough if it was to happen to us like Rovers, it wouldn't be great, all right, but they're putting away teams and they're not slowing down anytime soon. But it looks of
no,
it anyway. I, I think
absolutely.
I think Derry
7-1 against
white.
UCD, wasn't it, as well?
Yeah, like it
Yeah,
was 5-0 at half time or something. 5-0 at half time, something ridiculous. I think Bows, what I saw them, they're quite poor. You know, the
yeah,
players they have, we've talked about this plenty of times. They're missing that spine in the team. They're missing the character they have in Keith Buckley, Keith Ward, their two centre halves, Rob Cornwall, and they've missed so many players.
Georgie
They have
Kelly as well. Yeah,
Georgie Kelly, yeah. They have talent like Promise and Junior. They're good up front together, but they don't have. They're not. You wouldn't. You that they don't seem like they're willing to go for Bows.
mm.
You know, they're good players, but they don't have that killer instinct in them. And I think
Yeah,
you wipe the floor with them. I think
yeah,
I think that could be again. That could be 4 or 5-0 up there.
yeah, yeah.
You know,
No, it's,
no.
it's definitely feasible. Like that's the worrying thing about it. Yeah, I'll have to agree with you. I think I can't see past a home win here. I think Liam Burt's probably a big threat on the counter attack, maybe with his pace. He's been one of Bowes' pretty standout players this season. But yeah, I don't see anything other than a fairly routine home win. I'll go 2-0. I think they'll probably just kind of be comfortable enough. I still can't believe Shell sent up to Derry and beat them 2-1, and then it's just defies belief. So maybe that'll give Bo some confidence. But yeah, I think
Maybe.
Derry had that little bit of a patch. I think they had the Shells result, and I think they dropped points in the game after that as well. I'll just try and find it here. Can't actually remember who it was. Yeah, they drew with Drogheda after that as well away. But yeah, they backed up. After those two kind of disappointing results, they really put two great wins together over UCD and Pat. So yeah, it looks like they're right back in form after a little bit of a wobble. So yeah, I do expect them to get all 3 points there. Speaking of Drogheda, they play host to St. Pat's this weekend. An interesting fixture. Obviously, we just touched on Pat's there losing 4-0 at home to Derry, so it's a massive game. They need to bounce back from that. Drogheda also on the back of a poor result, losing 4-1 away at Dundalk. So two sides that won't come into this with an awful lot of confidence, really. Dundalk obviously still, sorry, not Dundalk, St. Pat's obviously still in fifth in the league, so it's not an awful lot between them and Dundalk, obviously, who are in third, only a point. But yeah, it's a concerning one for Pats. This won't be an easy game for them either.
No, I think Pats are they're slightly more frustrated with themselves and they've probably lost a lot more confidence they Drogheda have because I know Drogheda they beat Dundalk in United Park, but I think Drogheda they wouldn't be afraid to go out and get after Pats. Sorry, they're obviously Pats superior team, but especially after last week, they've massive lack in confidence. But at the
Yeah.
same time, they have the quality to bounce back. Again, this could be 1 or 2 nil Pats, but I could see a draw in this. To be honest, I don't think draw.
Mm.
I think draw are kind of stubborn enough that they could put that result against Dundalk aside. I know it's a derby and whatnot, but they could put that aside and focus on Pats more and say Pats could push that their result aside.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's
Yeah.
very
Expectation wise, it's kind of like easier for Drogheda to get up and go again. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
yeah. And I was actually at the reverse fixture for this. God, it feels like about 2 weeks ago. These two players against each other, and it was a 1-1 draw in Richmond Park. And Pats didn't really create an awful lot. Drogheda did frustrate them for long periods, and it took a bit of brilliance from Darragh Burns and Anthony Breslin to break it down to Drogheda United in the end. Drogheda United more than capable of getting a result here, no doubt about it. But I will just about go for a very, very narrow away win. I think maybe an Owen Doyle might just kind of nick one for them and just about do have that bit of quality just to see them through. But yeah, would be surprised to see this go anyway, to be honest. Especially I think down the middle of the draw is definitely a safe shout. Can Shelbourne pick up their first home win of the season this weekend at home to Sligo? Obviously, they did go to the showgrounds and actually win. They came away from Sligo with 3 points away from home. Going to be a very, very difficult game, of course. Sligo on the back of it was a 1-1 draw with Shamrock Rovers actually last time out. Shelbourne, of course, on the back of a really disappointing 1-0 loss up in Finn Harps. The last minute Barry McNamee goal sealed it for Finn Harps there. But that's 2 points that's 2 draws from Shamrock Rovers that Sligo have got this season so far, isn't it? So, yeah, they've been a tough side for you. How would you have assessed them so far this season from what you've seen, and how do you think they're going to fare in this one?
From what I've seen of them, the 2 games we played them in the season, we've dominated them, and there's only been, I think, especially in the second game there was a 10-minute period where Sligo were on top, and that's how they managed to get the goal. As soon as they got the goal, they sat back. You know, it was frustrating against them because we could have had, again, 2-3 goals at half time against them. Didn't. Then as soon as they get the goal back, it becomes a bit of a dogfight and so on. It becomes a bit of a struggle for us, especially going up to Sligo and trying to get a result, trying to get a win. It becomes dogged with them. Now, granted, they've slowed down since the start of the season. So they didn't really look that good on Friday. I know that 10 minutes they bombarded us and got the goal. But other than that, Rovers are fairly in control of the game. So I wouldn't be. I think as a Shells fan, I'd be quietly confident going into the game. Despite the home form or whatnot, I think now that it could nearly be beneficial that Duff is missing these games, because now players are going to want to step up even more, impress Duff from like another point of view and so on, especially Joey being there on the sideline too. They'll want to step up and, get the result for obviously themselves, but obviously Duff too. I could see this being a draw, or I'd nearly go for a Shells win here myself, to be honest.
Yeah. If you're going to go for it, I'll back you. I'll back you on that now.
I'll go for a Shells win. I'll go for Shells 1-0.
Love that. I love that. Yeah. Probably more confident than me. It's just tough to know with Shells because like you just don't know what you're gonna get. They haven't been a great watch realistically. They've been tough to watch at times this season. It's been it's tough. Like they're trying to kind of get that system going with the kind of back five, but it's just not very fluid. It's going to take time to get going, and I think maybe like the likes of Mark Coyle and A. Dervin maybe a little bit too similar in midfield. They're both kind of those brawler type midfield. They're kind of maybe not the most technically gifted, but very, very good footballers at what they do. But maybe they're too similar, if you get me. Maybe we need like a more creative force in midfield, and I think the lack of a goal scorer is really like a consistent goal scorer. I don't think Dan Carr is the man. I think Sean Boyd is a good backup striker, but I just think him as your main man for a full season it's a big ask. I think just with the amount of experience he has in the league, he hasn't had an awful lot of it, like consistent experience in the league. So it's a definite concern. I think we will have to spend a few bob in the summer to maintain that gap between kind of ninth. I'm optimistic that we can finish ahead of Finn Harps and Drogheda this season. Obviously UCD as well, and it takes 7 to be a decent campaign. But yeah, I think this is the type of game you look at as a home fixture, and you think we can get something from this. We need to get something from this, and only 1 point so far at home. That has to change at some point. That has to improve, and I really, really hope it's this Friday. The bit of good news to talk as well. Something's brewing, and a home
Bit
win
of a
is on the
buzz.
cards. Come on.
I know. Well, actually, in fairness, since Brendan Clark's come into the team,
Yeah.
they're just seeming a lot calmer and so on. Obviously, it's mad how the goalkeeper can change the game that much. Not that I'm a goalkeeper myself or anything, I know what it means, but however, they're he's brought that calmness to them and it just has the players just much more relaxed. Which is what they need. They know they need that.
Better communicator, I think, as well. Like kind of even just talking to the defenders and stuff.
But even we were talking about how close we are to the pitch in Telka Park.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like the other keeper may have not been used to the atmosphere and being that on top of him, but Brendan Clark was coming down to Argo in the second half, and the Rovers fans, they've always given him a stick and so on throughout the years. Brendan Clark's just laughing at them.
Yeah.
He's laughing at them and having a bit of a buzz with them. He knows what they're going to do, and it's not going to faze him,
Yeah.
So
it's why they got a bit intimidated there or something,
Yeah, of
Rovers
course.
fans right behind them, which is only natural. But yeah, Clark's been there for years.
Clark's used to it. He's used to a lot worse being thrown them as well. So
yeah,
I think it's the ideal time for Shells to get a win at Tolkien now, because as you said, after the good news and so on. So wait and see.
Yeah, we will wait and see what happens at Talk Park on Friday night. But we'll move on to UCD against Dundalk at the Bowl. Dundalk starting to come into a bit of form as well. As I said, they're kind of third in the league now. They're starting to kind of put a decent few results together. Obviously on the back of a good 4-1 win over Drogheda. And before that, they beat Shells as well late on. So a couple of decent results that they have in a row, trying to put in a bit of consistent form. O'Donnell's kind of getting his message across, getting kind of the players around on board with the system. Keith Ward putting in a good few performances as well. Obviously with Pat Hoban up top, you're always going to have a chance of a goal. And I think at the Bowl, I could see UCD will always make it tough enough at home, and they'll try and do their best. But I think it's getting to that stage where it's starting to wear off a bit, that kind of promotion buzz, and maybe the adrenaline is starting to die off a bit for UCD. And I do think we'll start to maybe see them kind of concede a few more goals in certain games and stuff, especially if they concede early as well. Really could knock them down. So it's still in search for their first win of the season, of course, as well. So yeah, I think this one's is a foregone conclusion, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's formality. Like the UCD, as you said, a lot of players are probably frustrated, especially maybe the more talented ones, such as like Lee Carrigan and Colin Whelan. They'll probably be worse. Where they might even get into their own heads saying we could probably be in a better team as well. They easily could be. It's frustrating for them, but it's the reality they're always going to face. I don't know what Andy might have told them or before the season, but it was always going to be a struggle for them. The one thing I'd have a concern about, I think Dundalk will win. The only thing I'd have a concern about with Dundalk, they love playing a high line, and passes are going through their back on the whole time, and they play it very risky. They did it a lot with Rovers, and then that's what ultimately led to the goal we scored against them. The runners in behind the whole time. A lot of them weren't even checked, so a lot of them were onside. Rovers just made bad touch, got away from one or two of our players. That'd be the only thing I'd be concerned about, because if you let Colin Whelan or Lee Carrigan go on a run, they're not stopping.
Yeah,
they're both quick and they're both powerful.
Yeah.
So they'll have to be wary of that. But other than that, I think it's formality. I think Dundalk they should win this. So they should.
Yeah, no, there should be no issues. Then final game of game week 14, Shamrock Rovers at home to Finn Harps. Finn Harps, of course, coming to this off the back of a good result for them over Shells. Still 1 point behind Shells. They are in that relegation playoff spot, and it's as tough a game as you could ask for, really, for Ollie Horgan's side. Shamrock Rovers obviously will have to play well to get through. Finn Harps to be a stubborn outfit, and they'll make things difficult, but you'd imagine Shamrock Rovers have the quality to beat them. The only kind of concern maybe is the Bradley issue. A slight concern is that leading into this fixture is that maybe players' heads are a bit kind of wobbled, or does motivation maybe a factor or something? Is there any kind of concerns in that regard?
Oh, absolutely. I imagine he's told his players, look, lads, I'm gone after this certain date as well. So it's always going to be difficult. So it is.
Just psychologically, like, yeah.
Yeah, the one thing I might say if Bradley has said something to them, maybe the players go out and win like the next 3 games because we have Derry. Maybe if they hold on to him until the Derry game and then after,
Yeah.
that's his goodbye or whenever it is. Win those 3 games and like have that motivation to win it for him and to like
Yeah.
get out and like give him a good send off, and then that will lead us. That could lead us into whoever takes over. That could lead us well into that, and it'd be happy enough again for us. So it's a difficult one. I still think we will get the win. Just have to score early and take our chances again.
Yeah.
We've been playing the last 5 or 6 games where we went 5 in a row with 5 wins in a row. Obviously, the draw against Sligo was disappointing, but the 5 games we had that we won, we are playing quality football. We are winning 1-0 when it could have been 5 or 6-0, and it didn't really look. We didn't really look uncomfortable.
Yeah.
We were 1-0 up, whereas teams now press, but you didn't really fear of us conceding. Even say like the Bows game, just seeing the lads like get out and wanting to win for the jersey, it was great. Like Mandrew was those stretch of games he had, like 3 or 4 games he played excellent. Same with
Yeah.
Andy Lyons. Andy Lyons is your left wing back and he's your top goal scorer.
Yeah.
He's coming into himself now. He's such a good player. Jacko, obviously doing what he used to do with us before he left. It is looking good for us. Like you said, the only question I have is, maybe their mind will be a bit rattled because of the whole Bradley thing, but I'd see that as motivation to go out and try to win for him.
Yeah.
So wait and see what happens. I think again Rovers could win this 2-3 now as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think they'll hockey them. I think 2-3-0 won't be like a mad cricket score and like, but
No.
yeah, it'll be
It's never going to be against Finn Harps,
No,
they're
it's
always
never
going to be tough against you.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. I think I'd agree. 2-3-0 to Shamrock Rovers is what I'd expect from that one. We'll move on to our Irish player abroad segment. So obviously in League One this weekend we saw a lot of players have a lot of success. We'll start off with the man at the moment, really making his debut for Rotherham United, and he scored the goal that seals their promotion back to the Championship. Georgie Kelly, obviously the goal was actually assisted by Chidozie Ogbene as well, but I know you're a Rovers fan, Adzi, but kind of just taking that out of it for a second, it was a special moment on his debut, wasn't it?
I can't get over that's his debut. I can't believe he's been out injured since December since he's been out injured, and
I think it was in a case of just getting up to pace with it as well. I think he was just being left out. And he's in the under 23s for a while and stuff as well. Like I think it was a case of getting him up to speed. Like,
but making his debut in that sort of game where they're promoted to the Championship and scoring the winner. I know they're 1-0 up, but to pretty much seal it for them.
Yeah.
It's too late in the season for your confidence booster, but he can carry that into the pre-season. But like, look, the manager's brought me on for a big moment to try and seal the game, and like it's massive for him. So like, I'm delighted for him and Chidozie, of course. Really good players. Hopefully, now that Georgie has scored that, he doesn't really fizzle out as they get into the Championship. Hopefully, he builds on this, gets his confidence even from those minutes he played, and get a more regular position and get his pre-season right, and then get a regular position in the starting team for the Championship. Obviously, it's going to be tough because it's a league up, but he certainly has the ability for it and so on. And he's clearly already bought into the whole Rotherham thing. You've seen him going mental with the fans and stuff, which for your debut, it's that's the ideal situation, So in fairness, delighted for him.
Yeah, it was a special moment for him, and seems like a nice fella as well. So I was delighted for him, and Chidozie, of course, as well, top baller. And I think if Rotherham hadn't gone up, I think Chidozie surely would have got a move to the Championship or something like that as well. Anyway, so it's great that he'll be playing in second tier next season.
He's going to up it again.
Sorry, yeah,
he's going to up it again.
Yeah, quality player Chidozie. If you can keep him fit, he's the potential to be. I don't want to put a ceiling on him or make any big claims or anything, but yeah, I think for what he showed at Ireland anyway, he looks like he could even play in the Premier League at some stage as well. Like so, yeah, quality player. They'll be playing in the championship next season alongside three other Irishmen at Wigan: Will Keane, James Mclean, and Jamie Mcgraw. Will Keane actually finished as with the golden boot in League One, 26 league goals, a fantastic return from a player who actually doesn't play in the striker's position all the time. You're going to play in the number 10 role a lot as well, in behind the striker, but obviously he's played it up top as well at times as well. James Mclean, who got into the team of the year for League One as well, had a fantastic season with Wigan. I know as a Wigan fan, I've been kind of watching the last few games and stuff, and he was injured there for a while, and he kind of came back from injury for that last game. Which was a huge rush back, and it
miraculously,
it looked like he was out for 6 months or something, and it ended up only being a couple of weeks. So yeah, he's some character, something else, and to have that and to get back, and he is involved in all three goals and Wigan's 3-0 win away at Shrewsbury. You could just see the difference he makes, and he's far too good to be playing at League One level. So he'll be back in the Championship, which is great. And the final one as well, of course, former League of Ireland man Jamie Mcgraw. Wigan signed him in January from St Mirren for $100,000. It might be actually been a little bit less than that, but yeah, great deal for Wigan to get over the line, especially with the performances he put in at St Mirren and performances he's put in with Ireland as well. Tricky one though, just for Mcgraw, with the fact that he came into a side that was at the top of the table, a very settled 11, very settled squad. He came in and it was very, very difficult for him to break into that team. And he didn't have much luck in that regard either. But I do think he is one that they've signed with an eye to next season. I think technically he's really, really quality player, but I just think physically maybe to get him to speed with League One, it was going to take a little while as well. So I think Wigan had an eye towards next season, knowing they need to have maybe more better technical players rather than physical players, and giving them that pre-season to kind of break into the starting 11, break into the squad. I think that's going to be the ideal for Jamie Mcgraw. So I wouldn't be overly concerned. It's been a shame from an Irish point of view as well. It could be left out of a few squads and stuff, not getting in. But I wouldn't be overly concerned. I do think next season he will get his chance and he will get back into that Ireland side. They
brought him in for a reason.
Yeah, no, exactly.
You know, they were always challenging to get promoted. They obviously brought him in for a reason. I didn't like that. I don't know if he had like any injuries, any injury issues or whatnot. But he's brought him for a reason. He has the quality. It is going to be tough when you're in that team that's fighting for promotion and they're playing well every week. It's very difficult for anyone to get into a team like that, especially when you're consistently playing well. It's always going to be hard, and he has to learn that. So again, this pre-season that he's going to go into, it's going to be very important for him. It's more of a chance for him to put a stamp on where he wants to play, how he's going to play. Because again, like that, they're going up to the Championship where, you know, nothing's guaranteed. The manager's going to look to constantly improve the whole time, and it's the same for Will Keane and Mclean. You know, they're going to have targets on their back. Players are going to come in, and they'll be like, they're going to need to up their game even more. Especially, say Mclean. You know, he's kind of had nearly a second win in his career. So there's a time there where he wasn't really getting many games and stuff, but since he's gone back to Wigan, like he's in the team of the season and so on. So he's obviously been excellent. So it's a new sort of chapter in his career. And Will Keane, again, finishing with the golden boot, fantastic for him. He just needs to up it again if he wants to consistently get into Ireland teams again.
Yeah, because now he's in the Championship. He's competing with your Obafemis in that league as well. He needs to be consistently banging them in to keep his place in the squad. A couple of other players that got promoted. Mark Travers, of course, got promoted with Bournemouth as well, which is great to see. He had a super campaign in the Championship with them, and he looks like if he's going to be hopefully a starting Premier League goalkeeper next season, it's a huge boost. And obviously in a position you don't necessarily need a big boost in, but it is great to have that competition in that area.
Yeah, like it's mad. Like who's your number one? You know, he's probably Ireland's number 3 if you really think about it.
Yeah.
Behind Bazunu and Keller.
Yeah,
Bazunu and Keller are swapping all the time. It's so unfortunate for him. Now he's going to be playing every week for Bournemouth, I'd say.
You'd imagine so. Although I did see Bournemouth are interested in Gavin Bazunu, which is fucking hilarious.
Jesus. Bournemouth, that is mad, Ari.
We shall see, though.
It could be unfortunate. I know of the rumor there's a rumor of him going to Southampton, Bazunu himself. So
Yeah, yeah.
it'll be interesting, all right.
Yeah. Touching on that, what would you think of Bazunu going to Southampton? Did you think that's a good move for him?
It was always going to be his next move was always going to be like upper championship or like lower Premier League. I did have a sneaky suspicion he could go to a good side and say maybe the Bundesliga or abroad.
Yeah, Italy or
Even
something. Yeah.
I had that. I also had that feeling because, especially with what I've seen of German teams, they like to nurture lads in quite young, and then it turn out you've seen like maybe your Jude Bellinghams and so on. They've been bought.
Yeah,
They've appeared to be nothing, and then they burst onto the scene, and then they're great players and they've bright futures. So it would be a good move from. I don't know what the goalkeeper situation like at Southampton.
I was trying to think. I think it's a Fraser Forster still not around.
He must be out of contract or something.
Alex McCarthy or something. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, it's definitely somewhere. It makes sense to him to be looking for a goalkeeper. I think, doesn't it?
Because if it's a loan, let's assume it's going to be a loan. Say you're going to loan him out. You know, he's going to have to play every week. Fair enough. If they're actually buying him then he could be used as a backup. But he's good enough not to be. I think he's good enough to be starting, especially at a level like Southampton. At his age, it could be ideal for him too.
Yeah,
you know, he's so much mature. Go on.
He's leaving City because he doesn't want to be number 2 there, so you can't imagine him going somewhere else without assurance as a first team football kind of thing.
No, well, he's City's number 2. Like after what Stefan was like in the cup final, cup semi-final. Sorry, there's no reason for him not to be number 2 after that. I could never see Bazunu do that. Now, granted, it's a higher level that Stefan was playing at, but I still couldn't see Bazunu doing that because he's played the international games he played and he's been outstanding in terms of distribution as well. I couldn't see him doing that at all. But I think you even said it. Ederson wasn't exactly up to shapes last night for City either. So you know, it's I think Pep. He's definitely in Pep's thoughts. So he is.
100%.
And if not, City are gonna demand a big fee from him, I reckon too.
You'd imagine so. And actually, while we were here, I forgot we should probably touch on the fact that Gavin Bazunu did win Portsmouth's Player of the Year, I think, as well, didn't he?
You think he won Fans Player of the Year and Players Player of the Year?
Something like that. Players Player of the Year, I think it was actually. Yeah, which just shows you how highly regarded he is there, and obviously rightfully so.
Wasn't in the Team of the Year though, which I wanted like going off his performances. Definitely, I don't know what story is with stats and the clean sheets he had, but
I think he was up there with clean sheets and all in a mid-table team as well. Like so,
yeah,
politics
difficult, already. Yeah, the politics of football are shocking.
Yeah. And then finally, we'll touch on a good news story. Nathan Collins, who's been in fantastic form for Burnley, kind of gone under the radar nearly with how good he's been and how much of a talent he is and how much of a prospect he is for Ireland. Unbelievable centre half, and will be probably in our centre half's thoughts for the next 10, 15 years or so. And I think he's up for Premier League. I think someone sent into the group earlier, Premier League Player of the Month, or something like that. I think he's nominated for, which is amazing achievement.
Like the list of players that are involved in that, like Ronaldo and stuff, are involved in that vote as well. So it's a credit to him. He's probably the reason why Burnley will stay up. Could be that. Like he's got. Like that. They still have to perform, but he's got the goals for them. He's obviously a great defender too. He's absolutely smashing it for Burnley altogether. So he's been obviously there was probably a bit of a question bringing him up from the Championship, signing him in January, but now you can't really doubt it at all. Like, in credit to Sean Dyche, he's not there anymore, but it's turned out well for him.
Absolutely.
Especially towards the end of the season.
Yeah, and he's the type of player that if Burnley do go down, he's at a good age where someone in the Premier League might look at him, or a team coming up, or someone might look at him as being a good option and a good signing. Because I don't think
the end of the world though if he stayed with Burnley.
No,
Burnley,
I know, yeah.
They could come back up easily. And Championship, like we know, Championship is no walkover either. Like it's
no, exactly.
For us, it has our best players in it.
Yeah.
Obviously we want him in the Premier League, but I think at his age, it wouldn't be a harm either way,
Yeah, no, exactly. Well, that is, I think that's all we have time for this evening. Adzi, that was an absolute pleasure. And
Lovely
hopefully
stuff.
we'll try and get back into the nice routine of the weekly live show and maybe get a few videos going on the side as well.
Happy days. Hopefully, so get back kicking. That's what we need to do.
That's it. An absolute pleasure, my friends. And thank you to everyone
How about it?
who tuned in. Really do appreciate it. Please do drop a like on the stream if you did enjoy. And please do subscribe as well. It is much appreciated. I think we're only 25 away from 3K. So that would be fantastic if you can get on that. But yeah, thanks, William, for tuning in. And I'll catch you next week.